I saw this Easy Ogbede's video where she was talking about how she was trafficked to Europe, to Italy precisely, at another age for prostitution. And I sincerely empathize with her. I know how it feels as a woman for you to grow up to discover that your human rights was being violated without you knowing, or you discover that a lot of people have traded with your life and destiny when it's not supposed to be so. Then I'm going to be looking into some key areas of what she said. Like, for example, I might not be able to say anything about what happened in Europe because I didn't have a personal experience about that. A lot of things, according to her, happened in Europe. By the way, Europe had their they made them work like slaves to pay back those money in which they said they should pay all those their madam and so on, which is very pathetic. It's not a story to listen to, or it's not something that should happen to somebody you know, or even I know. I don't wish it to happen to somebody I know, or even to my enemy. You understand? Because I don't even wish it to happen to me, not even in this modern days or generation. So the Europe part of it, I cannot really categorically say what happened there. But back to Nigeria and some accusations she laid concerning the Edo parents is where I am going to be, pinpointing something about. She said something that as if is a norm that the Edo parents will want to traffic their children because they knowingly want to traffic their children, despite the fact that they didn't know what was happening in Europe, but they felt it was a way out of poverty and a way of life because their children, as if they are helping their children to become better people. Easy Ogbede, there I tell you, what you said is not true. It's not true. I am from Edo State and I have Edo parents and I grew up in Edo State. It's not true. Why other people were busy sending their daughters to school? If your parents choose to send you to, Italy or to abroad for one or two things, prostitution or whatever, that is, particular to your parents. Because I knew the circle I grew up in. Our parents, anybody that knows me, knows that my parents were particular about, and our parents, the circle of our parents were particular about education, educating their girl child. I am privileged to have gone to one of the best schools in Edo State as at that time. And it's not just a public school. I went to a university secondary school, and my parents and every girl child in that school's parents were particular about their daughters having the best education and becoming great people in life. So it's not about the Edo parents and they wanted their children to go to Italy for prostitution. It's never so. It's not true. What is true is that would have been a particular set of people, not everybody. So don't generalize the Edo parents. I am here to stand and in fairness to the Edo parents that a lot of the Edo parents want the best for their children. If you look at Edo State today, you see that a lot of their daughters are educated, well educated, went to the best school in Edo State. They pay for their daughter. So it's not every parent that wanted their daughter to be trafficked. I think that was in a circle of maybe as at that time, some parents who could not afford education for their children. And some people will now come and tell them that, look, oh, I can take your daughter abroad and that is not the new greener pasture. And they decide to, go for that. Does not mean that is a norm in Edo State, or that was what was trending in Edo State as at that time. I believe I am much, much older than Easy. And as at the time Easy was being trafficked, I had already been a graduate from the university. And I am saying again categorically that what Easy is saying is not true concerning the Edo parents, because a lot of Edo parents paved their way for their daughters to become, great people, or to get good education, even maximum education. I know a lot of people from my state who are even professors as in ladies. They are professors and they got that degree even while still in Edo State, and their father or their parents aided them to get that degree. So that is my point, that in fairness to the Edo parents, because she generalized and she, categorized Edo parents as people who were, trafficking their daughters abroad, maybe for for prostitution, and that is how it sounds from when she was talking. And I decided to chip this in and telling Easy that is not true. That might be particular to people in her circle or people in her family, but not for every Edo parent. Today, I can tell you that even there was a time the Oba of Benin and most of the traditional rulers have to come together to lay a curse on anybody that will traffic their daughter or their child or any daughter from Edo State abroad again for prostitution. That was to tell you, or that is to tell you how magnanimous the offense was to traffic somebody, to traffic a girl child abroad for prostitution. It was never generally accepted by even people doing it, where some of them were doing it as in secretly. It wasn't something that they did openly. It was something they did secretly. So it wasn't open. You know, even at a time for you to even see a sponsor, you can't even know any sponsor because it was a secret thing. So don't generalize it like it was a norm in those states that parents have to, sign for their daughters to be trafficked. And a lot of these parents that their daughters were being trafficked never knew what was going to happen to their daughter or where they were taking their daughters to. They were being deceived and brainwashed, making them to believe that their daughters were going for greener pasture, that even the streets of abroad were paved with gold. And when you get there, in those days, I used to remember when they say, when you get there, you pick flowers in the garden. We used to make fun of it and we laugh with it. That don't worry, even when I get there, if it's flower, I'll go and be picking in the garden, or even if it's dishes, I'll be washing in the restaurant. So that was what they were meant to, the parents were meant to believe, but they never, gave their parents an insight into the level and the height of prostitution they were taking their daughters into. So that is what I want all of you to understand, that most parents in those states did not deliberately traffic their children. Those that trafficked their children or allowed their children to be trafficked was because they didn't know what their daughter was going to face in future. Nobody will open his or her eyes and want her daughter to go into such, magnitude of dehumanization or humiliation or abuse, because that is the height of abuse. As a female child, that's the height of abuse that could happen to you, and that abuse was more than wicked, because the people that were running those Madame organization, I think they were from the pits of hell. That was the height of abuse. So today, even in those days, the Oba of Benin has even laid the curse. Once more, I want to say it, let the whole world know, has even laid the curse upon anybody that will traffic anybody's daughter or traffic a child to Europe for prostitution. See you in another video. Don't forget to follow this page in which you are seeing this video. Have a wonderful